Hi, Nikki Wyatt, Karma Coach here. Today I want to talk to you a bit about trees, one of my favorite things. I love trees. I love walking in woods and forests, and maybe you do too. And a lot of people I know have kind of their favorite trees they like to visit on their walks. Trees and tree essences, the essences we make from trees, we usually make from their fruits or their flowers that come out when they blossom. And they are beautiful essences. One of the things that we are discovering now with science as well has proven is that trees have quite a complicated social life. They communicate with each other through these thread-like fungal cells, which are called mycelia, and they have this underground network, which is called the Wood Wide Web. And they can send each other nutrients, they can send each other signals when there's danger. So if a deer comes and starts munching on their branch, and they will send a message to the other trees around them to start excreting bitter tannin into their leaves, so the deer will leave them alone. They have kind of grandparent trees and parent trees, and mother trees will send nutrients to their offspring, which they recognize as coming from their own seed. It's really quite remarkable, and trees even have best friends. So think about that when a tree is felled. It could be quite a major event. And in fact, when a tree is felled, and if there's just a stump left, the trees around it will tend to send it nutrients to keep it going, so it's able to form new saplings. And if there is a shortage of resources in a forest, in a wood, or any kind of ecosystem with trees, they will make sure that the water and the nutrients are equally distributed among themselves. So they form this wonderful community, and interact as well with the birds and the wildlife in the forest and the woods. So they are beautiful beings, trees, and it's that one of the functions that they have is that they will easily bridge heaven and earth. When I look at a tree, I remember how I'm meant to be, because they have the light and the sun coming down through the top of them, and then it goes down through their trunk and into the earth. And at the same time, you have the earth energy coming up through their roots and passing upwards. So you've got this cyclic movement of life force, which is exactly how I feel we are meant to be. Except we tend not to get out and get enough light on our heads, and we tend to, and through our eyes as well. If you wear sunglasses a lot, not always a good thing. And we're not barefoot on the earth enough. That's where we are able to exchange, our energies with the earth, and ground and root and filter. And generally we only get to do that maybe if we're on holiday on the beach or something. We think it's the holiday making us feel better, which in some ways, of course, it is, but it is also often the fact that we are much more out in nature. And that is where we are meant to be, and where we feel our connection, because so often we feel so isolated and disconnected in our modern lives. And it's because we belong in nature. That's where we're meant to be, in that particular ecosystem. And then we would definitely feel we fit in. So that's one of the great uh, features of tree essences, which apply to all trees, really. The fact that when you take them, you will start to feel much more connected, much more grounded, much more stable, because that's true of any tree, that they have that ability and those qualities. So the first, I've chosen 6 different trees to give you a sort of overview of how you can kind of tell what healing qualities different trees have. And we will tell that from the texture of the tree, from the shape of their leaves, from their size, their color, how their fruits or pods or whatever, what they're like, the size of it, the behavior of the tree in different circumstances, and what environment the tree prefers. So the first one I want to look at is a lemon tree. So I'll just bring you up a picture of a flower from a lemon tree, which you may or may not have ever seen. I don't know if you would be able to identify that, but that is a lemon tree flower. And most fruit trees in general are very uplifting, I would say. If you can, I mean, who hasn't? If you've ever been in an orchard with fruit trees and they are blossoming, it is a delightful feeling. It really lightens your mood, and that is what all fruit flower essences will do. It will lighten your mood. So I always remember walking to the post office, going under a tree, and I kept noticing that every time I did that, I would cheer up. And it was only when it came to the spring and it blossomed, I realized it was a cherry tree. So they have this really uplifting quality, fruit trees. And lemon in particular, if you think about lemon, it's a very kind of cutting. If you taste lemon juice, it's very cutting, it's very cleansing, and that is what it does for us. It does that on a physical level, but it also does that on a mental level very particularly, which is what I'm trying to talk about more, is the fact that if you've got foggy brain, if you're going over and over the same old things and things aren't clear, then this will cut through this essence and help you to join dots you haven't joined before, bring in new ideas. It'll help you to, it clears particularly the left side of the brain where you're analyzing, you're organizing. So it's a great essence to take if you're studying, if you're trying to remember a lot of information for any reason, because I don't know, you're an actor or you're going to take an exam or something like that, or you're studying subjects such as maths or architecture or computing, things that require lots of organization and a sharp mind. Because the sharpness of lemon juice is very much the sharpness of your mind that it will give you. Um, uh, the next one I want to look at is the yew tree. So let's bring up the yew tree. And the yew tree I've chosen because it's a toxic tree. All parts of it, apart from the berries actually, are toxic. And I think that's important to say because when a plant has the power of life and death within it, I think it has a particular potency, and it kind of is a signature that it will be able to take you into very deep places. If you think about how shamans use plants to go on shamanic journeys, they nearly always choose plants that, if you don't know what you're doing, could kill you. So this is a really important aspect of yew tree, and it is able to hold that kind of life death axis, and that can sometimes be a death of the part of your personality. So it could simply be that you want to get rid of a habit or a pattern or something like that that will transform you and change the way you go forward in your life. So it's great for deep work. It's also about survival. Yew trees are amazingly old, like literally 200 million years old. They were there before the Ice Age. So it helps you to go back into your historical past, if you like. So you can remember things from your past lives when you take yew tree essence. You can also access really ancient wisdom because a yew tree holds wisdom from, gosh, so long ago in Earth's history. And it it has an ability, because it's been around for such a long time, to clearly to survive great extremes. And that will help you if you're in really difficult circumstances and you take yew tree essence. It will give you that strength and that ability to endure really hard times, and to be able to come out the other side. Um, it's also very protective, a yew tree, and it's one of the reasons of the many I've just said that you'll find it in churchyards a lot because of that life death association, and also because it's very protective. And it also has the ability to regenerate in a kind of unusual way. It will, instead of being able to cut a tree and read its rings for how old it is, with a yew tree, you can't do that, because the way it regenerates is it sends out a branch, and then from the branch it comes a shoot, and it will implant into the ground and begin to grow. And then gradually the yew tree begins to send, quite a lot of energy out to that shoot, and the original trunk will actually begin to hollow out. So you'll find you can sit inside the trunk of a yew tree even, and so will squirrels and owls and so on. They will all make their home there, and that means that that ability to regenerate and to keep going and plant a new possibility for yourself in life. That is one of the things that yew tree essence will give you. So the next thing is the next tree I want to look at is one am very I really love this one, and you'll see why I think when I bring it up because it's just so incredibly pretty. Um, it's called, well, I'll let you see it for a moment, and then you can hopefully recognize it if you. I don't know how common this is outside the UK, but it's a beautiful essence here in the UK, and often you can go down avenues of these when they come out, and they're called Magnolia. And as you can see from their the petals and the way they fall outwards, they're a bit like lotus blossoms there, and their petals are this beautiful white and soft pink. And to me, that's very much reflective of the crown chakra, and which is white, and the pink refers to the higher heart chakra, which is where we hold compassion. And the white is the sort of divine, coming through our crown, the divine light. So it's very much about compassion and enlightenment, and to me, very high frequency essence, this one. Very much about helping you to connect with the divine and the divine within you and your compassion for yourself and for other people. It's also one of the features of its petals is they tend to fall very gracefully and float gently down. So and the scent of magnolia is really strong, and it very soothing to the nervous system. So that quality of sort of gentle letting go and relaxing yourself is, so it means it's very good for sleep. It's very good for calming you. If you struggle to go off to sleep, it's a great one to take. And it's sort of asking you in a way, with the way it is, to surrender to love, to surrender to divine wisdom. Um, and yeah, I just see it as very much a message from the divine when I see a magnolia tree. The next one I want to look at is it's again, I don't know if you'll have this where you live, but here we go. It's another one that has been given its name because of how it looks, actually, um, which is the silver birch. So the silver birch, so called because it has this white scaly bark, and that in itself, if you look at the way the bark is, gives you the um, reflection of the way skin can become. And so actually it does really help with the skin, but I'm not going to look at the physical side so much. Um, what the way it behaves, the silver birch, is quite important, because if there's a strong wind or a storm, it will bend and flex itself, which is why it doesn't get uprooted very easily, because it will. And this is one of the key kind of notes of a silver birch essence, is that it allows you to be flexible, to bend when you need to. And therefore, to me, the key word around silver birch is tolerance, and it really helps you to become more tolerant. Obviously, rather good if you want to do yoga as well. And it's in Celtic mythology. It's very much considered a sacred tree, and I often think mythology and the sort of legends around different plants are often the way that we pass down knowledge of their healing qualities orally, before people were necessarily able to read and write. So I pay attention to that. And as I say, there's a lot of mythology around silver birch. And one of the things it says is that it is a very much associated with feminine energy. So it's about being able to be creative and nurturing. And if you're feeling quite blocked creatively, silver birch essence will often really help you to get inspired with some new ideas. Okay, so then the next one is cedar, and that is a really strong tree. It's got a very what sort of very astringent oil that comes out of the bark, and that means it dries things up. So it's often used for sort of weeping wounds or catarrh, mucus, that sort of thing. It dries it up. It's pretty much rot resistant, and it therefore lives for a very long time. And for that reason, it will give you that quality if you take the essence of really restoring and strengthening your immunity. It, because of its scent and that kind of cleansing quality of the scent, people often use it to cleanse an environment. So you'll often find people burn it to clear out any negativity from an environment and to um, make it ready for, I don't know, a different activity, maybe sleep or even a sacred ceremony or something like that. It's particularly that cleansing kind of cutting through things energy of the cedar tree is also important for the mental body because it can do that for your mind. So if you find that you're worrying a lot, you're over analyzing, you're overthinking things, cedar tree essence is a great one, especially if you're worrying about money. It's very associated with that. So it helps you to understand that, money is energy. And yes, we can project onto it all sorts of emotions that we have, but at the end of the day, it is just money. And how we align around that, how we feel around that is much more important than, actually adding it up. So being able to relax, which is what cedar tree does, uh, as an essence, will really help you to be more receptive to money energy as well. So good for abundance. And the final one is a kind of quite iconic tree. I felt I couldn't really do anything about trees without sharing this one. It's a photo I took, and I'm sorry I didn't have a person in the photograph because you can't get a sense of the size of it, but it is enormous. It's a redwood tree or sequoia, it's called in the States, I think. And they are known for being, well, apart from being absolutely enormous, that they are immensely old. They can live for thousands of years. And they're because of that, they are associated with sort of anti-aging and endurance, and the essence will give you stamina and an ability to keep going. It will also help if you can imagine, the strength of a giant redwood, what it would take to actually make it fall. It really helps you take a firm stand. So if you're struggling to say no, if you're struggling to advocate for yourself, if you are struggling to step into your power, then redwood will really help as an essence to help you take up your full size in life. Be as big as you need to be. And the final aspect of redwood essence is also the fact that the tree is very interconnected with its roots with all the other trees, particularly more, as a species more than others. And because of this interconnection that it has with other trees that are really important to a redwood, it also helps you to feel part of a community, that you fit in, and that you are part of a network. So if you're feeling at all disconnected or lonely or out on a limb, or you just don't feel like you fit in, redwood essence can help you to start to feel part of your community again. So that's me on trees. I hope to join you again for another one on another topic. And as I normally do, I'll be putting a link to the various tree essences I've mentioned underneath this video. And then you can even blend them. I'll put a link if you'd like to blend either the tree essences or some of the tree essences and other ones, different ones. That's absolutely fine. And there'll be a discount code as well. So I'm hoping the next one I'm going to be doing will be on crystals. So I'll see you again then. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it.